All right, we are back with Calvin Tahan at the 2025 Albuquerque Regional, coming off of a very impressive top 4 finish playing Chaos Godzilla, and he's going to tell us a little bit about his deck.
I am. Before anything begins, I want to give one shout out. Snuggy from Gaming Giant. While I was testing this deck for the last 2 months or so, I was having a lot of trouble remembering my check edits, and I would have little obviously dice. Snuggy let me use these crazy, super heavy dice. I never use these to roll to go first because I think that's probably cheating. They're probably weighted, but because they're so massive and heavy, it's literally next check it's +2, next check it's +1. It's just there, you see it. It automatically really helped me with this tournament, as stupid as that sounds. So thank you very much. Just having the visualizer and the massive weight of tops. Yeah. So Chaoszilla, right? Let's just get into. I think probably people want to care about the attacks of Zilla, so let's go through those. Played a bunch of 6s. Titan Cliff. This is, in my view, the best card in the deck. It's a reason that I can't play Water, although I really try to because there's a lot of cool cards on that. This card, with the exception of my top 4 match only, makes it so that if you only draw it as your other attack, the rest of your hand is now 3 other attacks, almost always. Filter draw is so good and so important. Also being able to establish pass-through walls to stop Breaker and Cape, first in hand stop Cape if they have it. This card is just so versatile and so incredible. It's also a 2 low block. My deck doesn't have a lot of those, so it's pretty relevant. This card should be banned. Tournament Advance. This card, Titan Cliff, and then AOT3 is now Tournament Advance too, because it can give you a momentum as well, so that's fun. I played 4 of these. Let's see, we got some numbers here for chat. 97, 15, 91, and 21, Blackjack. This is one I always checked. 3 victories, Smashing Stomps. This card's broken. Probably should also be banned. Anything that edits a check is just too crazy, and it has an on-hit ability, so you attack a backup, you draw, which is where this card comes in. This card did not perform in the tournament as much as it did in testing, but in testing this card was so broken. And I did see results with it. I took a head off Ghidorah because it was a throw, but its on-hit effect is if it's not blocked, you target bounce. So it feels bad to block a throw, but they have to, or you're going to target bounce their only threat. And in the event you're talking a backup, they can't. So you're literally killing the backup, and you're bouncing whatever you want, and it's going to momentum. This card's just so broken. 3 Orthodox. I thought 4 was inconsistent. As it turns out, 3 was inconsistent. But I think this card still has synergy with your Titan 1/6 Foundation, swallowed by a normal or whatever. It's a solid card to end strings with, but it's kind of a liability a lot of the time too. Let's go into the Foundations. I'm going to do the cards that check a 6 first, which is how this deck was designed to be. I played 1 League Interview because it's a first form, so it's technically unique, I guess. I played 4 pass-through rolls for the reasons I just said. You can just build it whenever you want. Checks at 3, 6. I played 4 of these, pretty self-explanatory. I think almost every Zola list is playing for this card, even the ones that don't build with Titan Cliff. And then I think every deck in the whole game that's allowed to play this card should play this card. Inspiring Song is, in my view, the best card from Critical Role. Yes, I'm including Sweeping Daggers. I think this card's better, although it's close. This card's broken. I don't know what they were thinking, making a vanilla common 1/6 attuned Chaos card. And then I played. These are literally vanillas. These don't have effects, but they're 1 diffs, so you can build them late in your string to check a 6. This is a 2 low. This is a 2 high. Those are both very important blocks that I need for my deck because almost every card blocks Besiege. So I need cards that don't block Besiege. That rounds me out at 19 cards that check a 6. So almost as many as my attacks. I now have 21 cards that check a 5. This is 0 diff in my deck. It's the only playable one on Chaos, and that's being generous. It's not really playable, but obviously it has synergy with Tournament Advance. This card is broken. Another reason to play Chaos. It's also on Earth, but Kraken's not, so we're never playing Earthzilla. Another Attune card. This card should be banned probably as well. Just a form draw. If they didn't sculpt and they only have Foundations, it also says stun, which is ridiculous. Makes it so that it's not possible not to draw attacks on your kill turn. This card is what makes Zilla broken. It's on Attune, so you can play on any symbol you want, but again, we went over Kraken's on Chaos, so that's the best symbol. This makes you a 7-hander or an 8-hander or a 9-hander, which I did once. I never became a 10-hander, but that would have been cool. 1 Best Hybrid. Just the 1 of 3. I think three checks are great. There's a lot of good ones on Zilla. The Mount Lady one was one I almost played 4 of. But I thought it was just too difficult to build, and I didn't want to play too many cards to check to 5. So it's not about the 3, but it's about the 5. I really just didn't want to play that many. But this card is broken. I think it's the best 3 that there is because you can enhance on their turn when you're intending on nuking. you can, put this in momentum to get ready for that, and then nuke when you want to, and you already have a momentum, which makes it better than the form of the other card, and far better than the Zilla one that Ready just sells, in my opinion. And then, City Rampage. Checks a 5, but, Rogue can kill your opponent. Side deck. I played 1 Genkai's. I never sided this card in, but decklist Republic, so my hope was my opponent always played around it. That was not the case. This card, Spirit Lolly. This is my tech. I sided it in a bunch. I never drew it, so it never came up. But it's a really cool card. It lets you, if you're stringing out super wide and you can't play another attack, it makes you hand in hand, so you don't make a check. It's like a Hawk's Feather, plus 3 damage. It's also on their turn. It can be deflect 4, it says gain 2 health, enhance. And then you also just play as an attack, and it says if it's is blocked, your next attack is 3/3, which is insane. It never came up, but a lot of times I'd set out the throw, put that in. Or I decided to walk the dog if I felt like they were having either a lot of lows or they were not committing foundations at all. Block the dog was unplayable, so I sided 2 attacks for that reason. This card beats Cape as well, Gently Theft. Just a flash, takes a Ghidorah ahead, you can't really do much about it. Like I said, usually when I'm setting walk the dogs, I'm just putting 2 mids in. Just make it really hard for them to hold blocks for the right thing. 3 Capes, this is unique, but it's broken, and you need to see it. Versus decks that don't play Hacker or Kraken. This card is almost always being sided in no matter what. I don't main it because those cards are so popular. But if that's literally not the deck, they're just going to be here. If you nuke and you have this, it just feels so good and it's almost impossible to lose. It's ridiculous. And then 4 Runaways. This card really doesn't have any counterplay outside of Deku lists. And it's just, you live no matter what, really, when you activate it. I beat Double Jin with it pretty easily. A lot of crazy, I beat the mirror, Godzilla mirror with it. I don't really need to explain it right away. But my tournament is something I want to talk about as well. I played 3 Ghidorah, which is a deck I've never been able to beat in the past, and I beat 2 of them, drew the other one. So the first round of Swiss, I played a Ghidorah and we drew. So I started the tournament 0-1, and then just won every other round I played. But it felt kind of good to beat that demon. A lot of it is testing. You find that you have to get to the number 10. So if you're not having a Rampage to start your string, or if you're not able to manipulate and build Swallow by normal with Titan Cliff, then you just can't get to that 10. So it's really not even worth attacking them at all unless you can do that. So it's a lot of sculpting and waiting. But I feel like I got the matchup done. I'm pretty proud of myself for that, almost as much as I am for topping 4. But yeah, I will now field questions for the audience.
What do you think was your hardest matchup of the tournament?
That's a really, really good question. So my only loss of the tournament was in top 4 to Travis's Rodin list. I don't feel like that was my hardest matchup. I played a Rodin in Swiss and destroyed him. I think it's kind of moot to say that the only match you lost was hard, but it's also kind of disrespectful to say that it was easy if you still lost. But I feel like I'm going to say I feel like it wasn't challenging. He's a very competent player. We both played our hearts out. That was insane, but it wasn't a bad matchup for Zilla. I just maybe it skewed bad, but it didn't feel unwinnable or untenable at any point. The cards just weren't there. I think probably the hardest match I played was my bubble match against Double Jin. That was the closest I ever came to losing all 3. I mean, he beat me game 1. I went first and he destroyed me. And then game 2 I almost died again. And game 3 I barely scraped by. I played him again in top 8 off stream, and I 2-0'd him because I downloaded a lot of that data from the stream match and just remembered what to do, I guess. And it felt really easy. So that's a weird answer because in tournament, as played, it was my hardest matchup. But then the next day it was my easiest matchup because I had solved it, I guess. So that's just a weird answer. I think maybe the Ghidorah. The Ghidorah, it's a tough ask for Zilla to take all 3 heads, but you really have to do it in one turn. When their shield's down, you just play running, smashing stomps. That's probably the answer.
Yeah. You mentioned it before, but there's a couple new cards in AOT3 that you're excited about. Do you think, obviously after such a hot finish, you're going to be at Worlds? Do you think you'll be playing Godzilla by then as well?
At Worlds? I kind of hope not. He's a lot of, I don't know, he's fun. I'm going to be playing something on the Chaos Symbol for sure. Kraken will be in my deck for sure. I'd love to be playing Amajiki again. If they ban Nick Reagan, tomorrow, I'll play Amajiki until Worlds, binding. But as it stands right now, 20 health characters are not legal to play unless they are specifically Rodin that can edit speed from Grave. But yeah, Zilla seems strong for sure. I think he's ridiculous with a new card, so it's kind of hard not to play him. At the same time, a lot of the AOT characters are really good too, and maybe he just has bad matchups versus them. Especially if it's going to be a broad backup strategy, nuking almost does nothing versus those decks. So I don't know. I just have to look at it, and truthfully, I haven't. So I don't know. That's a question mark.
That's fair. Any other shout-outs?
Just everybody at Gaming Giant, my locals in Fairfax. So that's Rob, Kevin, the TOs, Snuggy again for letting me use the dice. Really, really influenced my tournament game. Ryan, Mitch, and Wub from whatever podcast they did. My best friends in the game. And obviously myself for being as great as I am.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.